Before we dive in, a quick shout out to today's sponsors, Top Flight Gaming, your new go-to virtual card shop. They're a small independent seller on TCG Player, which means you're directly supporting a passionate, community-driven business. No storefront as of yet, just real people who care about the game. Whether you're chasing staples, looking to finish your brew, or just love seeing what's in stock, Top Flight Gaming's got your back. They've got competitive prices, fast shipping, and the kind of personal touch you just don't get from the big names. So if you want to support small creators while helping getting great cards, check them out on TCG Player. I'll drop the link down in the description. Thanks again to Top Flight Gaming for supporting the channel. Now, let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tourney Timmys. We're here once again to talk about really anything to do with cEDh. And this weekend proved there is a lot to do with cEDh. We're going to be talking about the dreaded 11-hour game. We're going to be talking about the cheating scandal, my experience in the tournament, and what Mark and I got to experience at Land to Go. Some other minor things if we have the time. And without further ado, we're your hosts.
I'm Kay.
I'm Kearns.
I'm Mark.
And I'm River. Let's jump into it. Where does everybody want to start?
Okay.
Oh, there's. It seems like there's a lot to talk on, at least for this episode. I don't know. I kind of want to just jump right into the meat and potatoes and talk about the 11-hour top four.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear how your conversations went with some other judges, maybe offer a perspective that the public doesn't always have access to of what they had to say about it. Before
we do that, for the audience who doesn't know, if you know cEDh, you should already know this. The tournament we're referencing is the Salt Lake City tournament out in Utah that had an 11-hour top four match. The video for that is nowhere to be found. There was a Reddit post about it that we will not be linking to, mostly because I don't think any of us have really watched that finals or know the video, and I don't think any of us want to link to anything in depth when we don't know the full situation and in its entirety. But I am also wanting to hear what Kay has to say about the what he's learned.
So I spoke with a couple judges. I spoke with my mentor and another one. I won't be name dropping, but when I was asking them about an 11-hour top four, funny enough, their reaction was kind of like, sometimes it happens and sometimes it's necessary. But when I started giving them information as to what was going on, then they brought up the fallacies of the cEDh rule set that we're currently using, because there's no official IPG, which, for those of you that don't know, that's the infraction procedure guide. There is what's called the MTRA, which is the Magic Tournament Rules Addendum, which Top Deck utilizes for their events. And it's to try to help issues in the IPG being built for a 1v1 format, and instead trying to take care of some of the issues that cEDh would run into being a multiplayer one. And so they were all, both of them were acknowledging of a long format that sometimes the politics is just another aspect of the game. So because there's no hard definition on slow play, which is by design, it is up in interpretation to different judges that are talking or actually sitting there and viewing a game that's going on, overseeing it, or being called for one to try to make the most just call in actually calling for slow play. And because politics is a big aspect of the format, that they are in a way progressing the game. And I'm talking about a specific spell. I believe it was a Borrow Breeze Caller, which was on the stack, and I think it was Gold Sabertooth who was talking. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told that it was on the stack for about 4 hours. I think the specific mention was 4.5. We'll just say 4. I can't say if it's true or not, but even if you are talking about something being on the stack to try to convince someone to take it away for whatever reason, which there can be multiple for, especially for those of you that play cEDh and play in tournaments, you know how important these politics are to getting to a win sometimes. That it is, in a way, progressing the game. Like, if someone takes a game action, plays it, and someone has to stop it, and then that leads someone else to win, then that can be in a situation where kingmaking is, which is another inherent problem. But a lot of people are putting blame on the judges, which judges are only there to fix mistakes that are happening and to keep the game competitive on all aspects for all players. Judges are not meant to step in to help. If you're asking is like, what should I do in the situation when you call over a judge, we can't give you an answer. Kind of like how when you're in school, you try to ask a teacher, what's the answer to this question? We literally can't help you. We're only there to fix any issues that are going along with the actual gameplay and not influence your decisions. And so the answer was kind of short for both of them. One of them said that if the game needed to go out that long, because there's 4 different people in there that can heavily influence the game, a lot can happen. And for those casual EDH players, you guys know about these dreadful, insane long games you guys have at the LGS or at your own home, and they just get to be insane where nobody wants to attack each other. They don't want to make the wrong move and lose the game or stuff like that. But because we don't have the VOD of this, I can't really break it down any further with any definitive answers, and neither could they. But it went down to the point that they're trying to trust the judges that were hired there for the event, and it sounded like a lot was taking place that a judge should not have stepped in for. However, there is a lot to be said about the players at hand, though, making the game go so long. What do you guys think about that?
A lot of opinions, so I'm going to let the other two speak before I do.
Okay.
For me, last summer I was at a 168 person tournament. I got number 2 in Swiss with my Kenrith deck, and when we went to top 16, that top 16 game took, I think, about 5 to 6 hours. Right. Yeah. That being said, we played 3 games. 3 games. Because both...
So that was before the rules changed where you couldn't start a new game, right?
Yes. And I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but we played 3 games, and the first game went to turn 8 or 9, and I attempted to go for a win. Everybody showed counter magic. It's like, you can go for the win, or we'll stop you, and the next person wins. Or we can go for a tie and play a new one. And that happened game 1 and game 2. And then game 3, the go-to player won because of kind of like that. I was like, I don't want another tie because we're going on 5 hours, and I misplayed because I was tired. I misplayed heavily. So like, the idea is that playing in a tournament setting, like, your nerves fried. Remember, this game started at 5 p.m., right? And then it ended at 4 a.m. the next morning. No, I was so done after 6 hours of a top 16 game, let alone a top 4 game where you could get some money, pay for the plane ticket that took you there and all that stuff. Like, I'll put it like this. cEDh is a game of using your resources in your mind to win, right? And a lot of the times that is politicking, which is something I enjoy at a table. However, you are also a resource. Your voice is a resource, and so is, hey, judge, this person is talking too much. If I'm winning with an Aboro Breeze Caller on the stack, my players have a minute before I'm calling judge, saying, no, I want this. That type of thing. Just an 11-hour cEDh game is long. Realistically, a cEDh game that is over an hour and a half is very long, and very tiring. Like I'm surprised like there wasn't like a mosh pit fight going on, right? So I found that very, very just weird and disconcerting. Something went wrong. There's no reason for a game realistically to go for 11 hours. There's no. I play speed magic with my friends. cEDh speed magic. Turn 1, 10 seconds. Turn 2, 20 seconds. Turn 3, 30 seconds, and so on. That being said, if they're stacking everything, but I have played like turn 8 cEDh games in 20 minutes this way, where and this we had our triggers. We're going on. I have played very, very good games of cEDh in 20 minutes turn 8. Now that's not how a lot of people want to play. They want to, but just I enjoy talking, and I don't think stating your case for a minute tops, realistically, is all you need. No matter how complicated the board state is that realistically, I'm gonna give you about a minute. But if my trigger's on the stack, I have priority. It's my turn. The opponents don't get to talk for as long as they feel like. And one of the people in particular that's being called out, I know personally. I played friendlies with them. He has given me a art card. All of my interactions with him have been positive, but it seems just weird all around from the TOs, from the tournament organizers. If there's no reason for me, there's no reason for an 11-hour game. And if it gets to the point, you have to remember that you are your most important resource, and you can use your resources, just your mouth, the cards in hand, but also the TOs and the judges to be like, hey, this person is just talking too much on my turn. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but like there are consequences for this, and I know Cade knows, but like I have seen in games, in tournaments, judges give out it's I can't think of the term.
Turn skip.
It's slow play.
Yeah, turn skip. They sorry.
Oh, that's the punishment for slow play.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
It got upgraded. It got upgraded to turn skip now. Judges can just do
turn skip. Judges
Yeah,
for
it used to be warning to turn skip, and now they can just issue turn
warning
skip.
now. They're really just being nice about it.
Yeah, which I have seen a lot of warnings happening. They don't have to issue it. They can just upgrade to turn skip.
Well, so
Yeah.
the proper process for what a judge should be doing is not being like an asshole just walking over and just saying someone gets a turn skip. They should at first say like, hey, I need you to take a game action. Then if it progresses from that point when the judge is still there, then they should issue it. But it's meant to help the players along, not to punish them. Because it's not for the best players. It's the IPG is built for everybody. Sometimes people just play slow. We know one here in the Tourney Timmys server who plays a bit slow, and we love him to death. But he does play slow, and so sometimes we do have to say, is like, we've been sitting here for like 30 seconds, and you haven't played your land yet for turns. Like, please do something.
Yeah, Mark, what was your thought process on the whole thing?
So, I'm gonna quickly reference a different event that I was at in Wisconsin where I had to call a judge over. A player resolved an ad nause. We're all sitting there. I have nothing in my hand. My opponents seem to not have anything, obviously, because they let the ad nause resolve. He's like sitting there trying to think out everything, if I have an endurance in my hand or not, because I was on Elevere. But I didn't have anything. But it's not on me to say, hey, go ahead and play out your win line. I don't have anything. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make you play it out, but you need to be doing something. And he wasn't. So I call a judge. The judge comes over and I tell him what's going on. He watches for a second and then walks away in the middle of that same turn, and I don't know, like, I don't understand why. There's like no reason to me when I'm like, you didn't even finish the turn that I called you over about. I don't know if people in general at this event were just like nervous to call a judge or whatever. I don't know how many times they actually called a judge over, what was said during those times, if there were any. I haven't been able to find a video on the event. I know there was one that got taken down before I was able to view it. But to me, it is absolutely, completely unjustifiable that there is one round of Magic that takes longer than 6 rounds of Swiss, even with the 20 additional minutes after time is called. That is absurd and completely uncalled for. Whether it's partial blame on the players, the judges, the TOs, I don't care. It shouldn't happen, and I don't ever want to be a part of something like that. And I just can't believe it happened in the first place.
To start, I have never met Tim, aka Gold Sabretooth. I cannot speak on who he is as a person. All the interactions people I know have had with him have been overwhelmingly positive. I think I reached out to him for a commission once, and I just don't think it didn't work out. I think he just got busy, which happens. I'm not upset about it. To start, I understand what Kay says. Yes, judges aren't supposed to like micromanage the players at all, and I get that. I think for a format like cEDh, I don't think micromanaging needs to happen. I do think judges, and at the event I was at, this was a thing, so I'm kind of glad judges are starting to do it. I think judges do need to be a little bit more proactive. In 1v1s, you don't have to be. As someone who played a lot of 1v1 Magic for a while, and I used to try to grind SCG cons and stuff, I was so bad at it because I only played Soul Sisters. I never ran into a game where I was like, hey man, you've been sitting here and we've been talking back and forth for 15 minutes. I'm going to need you to make a game action. I've never had that experience ever in 1v1. And maybe someone's had it. I doubt it's like the norm. The unfortunate part is for cEDh, that is becoming more and more the norm, where we have a buddy, Mark and I do, his name's Tyler. He's who went to the Land Go Open. He made top 16. His name's Tyler Henderson. Really, really good Kinnan pilot. Love this guy to death. I spectated his last round, so his round 7, and there was an Atali player in that pod who spent 6 straight minutes determining whether or not he wanted to Flare of Denial and into the Flood Maw. There were 2 spells on the stack. It was
a flare duplication for
yes. Flare duplication. There were 2 other spells on the stack. There was his Molten Duplication targeting Atali. So if he sacrifices Atali, the initial one does nothing, and then he could maybe copy the Hullbreaker Horror on Tyler's board. Tyler told the guy multiple times after the guy tried to convince him to take his Into the Flood Maw back on his Atali that he was going to make his turn super difficult for him. Tyler said, I don't care. You can make the turn super difficult for me. I'm playing this spell. I talked to my buddy after the game, and I told him that, and I'm kind of glad the 11-hour game happened because it kind of justified what I was explaining to him. You cannot let people get away with taking 6 minutes every single game action. That is egregious. Our format is not that difficult. There are difficult decks you can play. There's difficult play styles, and there are sometimes complicated board states. Kind of. Most complicated board states aren't actually complicated. I don't care what anybody says. Play your spells or don't. At the end of the day, you can politic. It's part of the format. You should do it. But there is a point where it becomes excessive, and I think people genuinely need to call judges, and I think judges should be on the lookout for it. Judges should walk around and look and be like, this player hasn't taken a game action in 4 minutes. Okay, hey buddy, I'm going to have to ask you to make a game action. I've been watching your guys' game. I think the game needs to progress. And players, more so than judges, players need to call judges. I've been a huge advocate of this since the beginning of Tournament cEDh. Call judges, call judges, call judges. It is never a bad time to call a judge. Though the one thing that changed my mind on this, because again, when you go from 60 card and you play Tournament cEDh, there's this thing of like, I don't really want to call a judge unless like something crazy is happening. However, in cEDh, a judge told me once at one of my tournaments, I can't remember how we got in the conversation, but he told me, he's like, I really do wish people would call me more. It was a day where like he hadn't gotten like any judge calls. But then after the event, a bunch of people were complaining about slow play. And he's like, I could have solved the slow play issue. Call me to your table. I'll see what the opponent's doing. I'll give them a warning if I believe they're slow playing. And then I'll walk away, go answer other judge calls. And if I come back and they're still slow playing, I'm going to turn skip him. And he's like, the issue is nobody wants to call a judge because they think they're wrong to do so. And the thing that's always stuck with me is like, if you feel like you need to call a judge, it's probably already too late, but you still need to call a judge. Like, if there's something in the back of your mind that's saying, I should call a judge because this person is slow playing. Like, we had a judge who, it was in my round 2 at the Invitational, where we had to call one of my opponents was timing another one of my opponents on a necro turn. If you have 30 additional cards in your hand, it can be difficult. But again, the game's not that difficult. And if you have to sit there and think for 10 minutes on what you're wanting to do, this is going to be the crappiest thing I say. And I mean this with love to everybody. If it takes you 10 minutes to figure out a necro line, don't play the format. And that's kind of harsh, but I'm so tired of people never practicing these lines, and then in a tournament setting, they take forever. So we had to call a judge, and judge came over. My other opponent was like, hey, showed him her phone, and was like, I've been timing him. He's taking multiple minutes per game action that he's doing and thinking about. Like, and the guy, unfortunately for him, kind of admitted to slow playing, where he was like, yeah, I guess I kind of am slow playing. And he meant it as in like not purposefully slow playing, but the judge still was like, you one, don't ever admit that. And two, like, I'm going to issue you a warning. If it happens again, you're going to get a term skip. I need you to make meaningful game actions. And he stayed there and watched him play out more of his turn to make sure that he was making meaningful game actions within a meaningful amount of time. And not meaningful game actions, my bad, but was making game actions within a meaningful amount of time. So yeah, as far as like the 11-hour game in totality, I agree with like Kearns and Mark. It just shouldn't happen. From my understanding, and again, I've yet to watch the VOD. I really hope it gets released, and if it ever does, we'll probably do a breakdown of that video because I would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But if it doesn't get released, it doesn't. From my understanding, from what I've gathered, there was a situation where a judge did tell one of the players to make a game action, and the judge was ignored, and nothing changed. That to me should have been. I'm trying to say this as nice as possible.
yeah, we understand.
That to me is just massively disrespectful. Judges aren't bad guys. And if they tell you to hurry up or like, hey, now's the time to stop talking. This is what's happening on the stack. Do you understand that there's like, let's say an Abora Breeze color on the stack? Yes, you understand there's an Abora Breeze color on the stack. This player is passing priority. Not attempting to, by the way. This is another thing I think people don't understand. And I think judges need to enforce this a lot more. If a player has passed priority, there is no more I'm attempting to. They have passed priority on their spell. If you keep trying to convince that player to not take that spell or to take that spell back, and that player is telling you they aren't going to do that, and you consistently try and tell them that they need to, you need to get a warning of some sort. If I pass priority and the next player attempts to pass priority, another player cannot stop that player from passing priority. That is not how priority works. No matter whether you're politicking or not, this is why if you want somebody to not do something, I'll usually tell people, hey, before you pass priority on that spell, right? I would like to talk about it. Before you make a concrete decision, I want to have a conversation about this really quickly. And it never take. Mark has played games with me. For everybody in this call has played games with me. I will not badger a player for an extended period of time. Like I will straight tell you, like, this is what I think is going to happen. We probably shouldn't do this. And then, yes, Kat. And then if I will always tell the player, you are allowed to do whatever game action you want. I think it's a poor choice. You are allowed to do it. And if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. But that also never takes. I've never been in a game with anybody where I've spent more than 2 minutes on deciding if a spell is going to resolve or not. Like, it just to me feels something went wrong, and if the players aren't going to do something for themselves, I think judges have to start.
I do want to add on to the part where you're talking about calling on judges. Please, this is me as a judge, not as a player. Please call me over. That is the entire reason I am there. If you are not calling on me, I'm either watching someone's game or I'm pulling something on my phone, like either to like message somebody or like whatever. I am there for the event. If I'm not getting called over and problems arise, I can't help you. And that's the same for every other judge. We want to fix anything that would be a problem. That is why we are hired to run the events. That's why judges of any game in any format are there. They're there to solve any issues that come up in your games. Just please. If there's anything you can take away from anything I say for like the next 30 episodes, call your judge. Even if you think it's something minor. Even call a judge on yourself. I've done this in an event. Like,
yeah, I do this all the time.
like it is 1000% okay. Now, don't go admitting like what he's saying, where he's like, "Hey, I did this." You're gonna immediately get a penalty. I'm not trying to be the bad guy or good guy here. I'm just saying, just like if there's a legitimate problem, call a judge over, please.
Yeah. So, Kay, I have a question for you, kind of that might have a little bit to do with this mess. Is there any kind of portion of the judge program in an official capacity for cEDh or multiplayer formats for judges, or is that not a thing?
So everything that we have access to is from Wizards of the Coast. That is, so judges don't have any secret documents to run events. It's everything that's released from Wizards of the Coast, and that we are certified in knowing the information of which they have published. So there is technically something released for multiplayer, but it's for team-based multiplayer, which is still technically 1v1. Yeah. Yep. There is nothing for free-for-all multiplayer. That being the key difference. The only thing there is the MTRA, which is worked on by a group of judges, which I will call these people out by name because I appreciate them very much.
Awesome
Maxwell
people.
Yeah, Maxwell Minari, who's a level 2 judge. He's the owner of it. He's the one who got it together. There's Seth Armar, a level 4 judge, big contributor to it, as well as Brooke Gardner Durbin. That's a last name. He's an L5, another big contributor with it. Those three people being the main people to work on the MTRA to make the IPG for multiplayer that much better. You have to thank these guys for what Top Deck is utilizing.
And I will. There is one thing to add on to kind of what Mark asked. Any cEDH tournament you go to, well, almost any cEDH tournament you go to should be using the MTRA. At least in my opinion, I think it's the best thing we currently have. If Wizards isn't going to do something, we got to do it ourselves. What's new?
Yeah, I did have a chat about that specifically, also with the meeting I had with a couple of the judges. Since Wizards now owns Commanders of Format, the old Commander committee gave up ownership of it after the big bans being Dockside, Nadu, Mana Crypt, and
Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, Jeweled Lotus, that's the one. That we may sometime in the future have the format be acknowledged as an official competitive format.
The big thing in the MTRA, and this is something that kind of frustrates me. A lot of players will attend events and they never read the MTRA. They don't know anything about the MTRA. For a lot of people that know, going into the event, I was trying to work on my cussing because there is pro REL in general. You really shouldn't be cussing at events, regardless if it's in a sentence or not. There's really no reason for it. And I acknowledge that. So as somebody who's 30 years old trying to stop cussing, it wasn't the best. But so that's something I wanted to work on because I've read the MTRA and I know that you can get unsportsmanlike conduct called on you for excessive cussing. There is a rule, which is referred to as the no yap rule, where if it is your turn and if another player is excessively trying to politic during your turn, you can call a judge to come over to the table and tell them that your opponent is excessively politicking and you would like them to stop so you could continue your turn. You are absolutely allotted that. And if a judge comes over, and how it's supposed to work, if a judge comes over and it's my turn, let's say it's my turn, and Kay's talking and talking and talking, and I'm trying to cast a spell, I'm trying to pass priority on it. I can call a judge and be like, Judge, my opponent won't let me take my turn. Like, essentially, like, I would like to continue taking my turn and make game actions. A judge will tell them, okay, you need to stop. This, again, like I said earlier, this spell is on the stack. If priority is passing, seems like it is, do you have a response? He's passed, he's passed, he's passed. What would you like to do? And the player starts talking again. What'll happen is the judge will give you a warning or a turn skip, like depending on how bad it is, if you like consistently keep doing it. People don't utilize these like they should, and as long as you call a judge, there really is no issue. It's just people don't call judges, unfortunately. But
I did pull it up. It says it is MTRA 4.1. It says word for word, the active player may request the table to stop excessively influencing game actions to progress play. Failure to do so may result in unsporting conduct, minor penalty. Which, if we scroll down and we pull it up, that is a turn skip. You can get your opponent's turn skipped if they keep trying to stop you from playing the game by talking too much.
Yep. And people just need to utilize that more often.
I have another question for everybody. It's about what constitute as slow play for them. And I'm going to give you a simple example. How long should a Thrasios activation last?
Oh my god!
Because everybody has different answers.
So
I don't want anybody to say. I was wondering if we do a piece of paper, and we all reveal it.
Oh, like
3, 2, 1, reveal how many seconds.
I can do it on my head.
Yeah, like you could do fingers, like 15.
Yeah, I'll do the fingers.
20. Okay, everybody take 10 seconds.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna hold our fingers for what? The number of seconds or minutes?
Yeah, number of seconds. Minutes?
Number
No, seconds.
I'm just
Hopefully they're not
clarifying.
minutes.
If somebody holds up like a 3 and a 0, like I just want to make sure that's seconds.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I think it's like this or like this, whichever way it comes up on the camera.
Yeah.
I'm not participating in your communist seconds.
What?
No, it's like for me, it's 30 seconds. It's like it shouldn't take more than 30 seconds to determine that, only because like, and in most cases, this is kind of how I feel. It is very rare that it takes me very long. Like, that's actually something a lot of my opponents talk about with my gameplay, is that I don't take long to make game decisions. And it's because, like, I don't need to. Like, I'm trying to think. Everybody here's watched, like, Dragon Ball Z, right? This is going to be a really dumb reference.
I love it already.
So, like, the hyperbolic time chamber, when you've played cEDh so many times, so repetitively for so long, there's very few situations you should find yourself in if you are constantly practicing, if you are constantly gold fishing, that like you need a ton of time to think. The format's not actually a puzzle. Like it. Kay and I have talked about this in depth before. Maybe we'll do an episode on this at some point. I think too many people only think about their turn on their turn. Which is why you'll see a lot of players, they'll like untap, upkeep, draw.
This hurts.
Well, now I'm going to play this fetch land for nope. I'm gonna. And it's one of the things that annoys me so bad, because like, how do you not know what you're fetching for? How do you not know based off your hand what you're tutoring for? How do you not know off of your opening hand what your game sequences are going to be? There are times where like I have my turn mapped out in my head. There are very few cards that I am going to draw in my deck that are going to influence that decision. One of the big ones is like an early heuristic study. If I have the ability to play a turn 1 cEDh, also I've swapped decks, Death to Tasigur. If I play a cEDh, if I can play a cEDh turn 1, but I draw a heuristic study, I'm playing heuristic study turn 1. And you know how many seconds it takes for me to make that game action? The exact amount of milliseconds it took for me to pick my card up and look at it. It's not that difficult. It's just not. I think players make the game so much harder on themselves than they need to. And then even if you spectate like the top players in the format, the only time they take, which I still think is a little egregious, but like, hey, they're better than me, what do I know? Is on politicking. But other than that, game actions are like, it's not hard. Like I want people to attend tournaments. I want people to put time in. I want people to experience this stuff. And yes, there are going to be growing pains. But man, if you don't know what you're doing, take the time to learn. That's why primers exist. That's why there's so many things for cEDh that exist. Somebody has probably already written a primer about the deck you want to play and has mapped out literally every single combo you could ever go for in that deck, and why you would go for it, and in what turn you probably want to go for it, and against what decks you don't want to do certain things. That like the information's just there. So utilize it. You don't need to like in the middle of an invitational. We'll get into that when I talk about my tournament. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no. To kind of piggyback on that a little bit, I think that like I've seen several people playing these like high power casual decks, and they're like, oh hey, there's this big event, I'm gonna go play in this thing, it sounds like a lot of fun. But they don't go to their locals first to kind of like learn along the way. They just jump into the deep end, and we're supposed to save them while we're trying to play for prize support, and nobody wants to do that. They need to do the necessary things to be playing at a comp REL level, because that's what these bigger events are. It's not oh, my shop's doing, a weekly cEDH event, or I'm gonna go play Commander and we're gonna like play cEDH and like learn how decks work or whatever. There's a time and place for that. Nobody's like trying to gatekeep or say that you can't like learn the format while playing it.
Don't speak for me, Mark. I am trying to gatekeep.
Oh,
Absolutely,
gosh.
dude.
Gosh. Yeah, when you're at a tournament, right, you pay $70, possibly more if it's a convention, right? Because for me, if I pay $70 for 7 games, I want to play all 7 games, then get into top 16, right? And I want every game to be a good game, right? I want to have fun. I sit down at a table, right? I say who I am, where I'm from, what's my job, and then I ask the other 3 people at the table, just so we can have a baseline. So at the very least, we can be, because that attempts to be nice to each other. I usually offer some Twizzlers or peanut M&Ms as well, because
I need to go play with Kerns. What the hell, dude? I
Yeah,
want my
like,
opponents to give me Twizzlers.
because when I go to a tournament, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have to go minimum 4 hours to get to the closest tournament, right? Most likely, I'm flying, right? I have to fly. I have to get a hotel room, and then I have to pay for the tournament itself and the Uber and the bus fare to get there.
Not if you attend a tournament near me, baby. You're gonna stay with me.
Yes, that is the plan.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. But so right, there's a lot of money. Not only how did I just have to drop $100 for new cards because I can't proxy last second with paper. It has to be, good cardboard. So right, there's all of that. But the thing is, the majority of my end tournament games that I've been to, if I go to a tournament, I would say about 80% of my games have not lasted longer than an hour. Because all of us sit down, we talk, we nice, and we do very light politicking, or like very heavy politicking, but most of the like the majority of the games that I play don't go past an hour. The only time they do, it's because they are a tie, because sometimes that happens, or right, sometimes players are just a little bit slower, and that's fine. People are allowed to be slightly slower, but they do have to take game actions, and I think that's the issue with slow play, is that when it comes in a tournament setting, sometimes you don't notice it until like you look up at the clock because you're focusing on the table. Because I have ADHD, I hyper focus on what's in front of me. All of a sudden, it's turn 3, and 30 minutes have passed, and I'm like, "What did that? What do you mean 30 minutes have passed?" It felt like 10 seconds, right? It felt like 10 minutes have passed, and you're like, "I great. I now have 45 minutes left." Like sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's like this is now going to be a slog, and I have to attempt to, even if it's quicken my turn by like 20 seconds, I'll do it. Right? When you come to a tournament, you have to know your deck. You may not know every artist's or art on the card type of deck level, but
you just need to know what it's doing.
Yeah, you need to know what how your cards work and what interaction. I'm tired of seeing
what's your
people
game
trying to flusterstorm creature spells or enchantments and stuff like that in the middle of.
I do that all the time. I flusterstorm. Oh, so wrong. I am now better at it. Or force a negation on your own turn. I've done that within the past week, and I'm just like, oof. Why? I've played this card 1,001 times. Why am I such an idiot?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last time I saw somebody do that, it actually was you, Freedom.
It was me. I
will say,
because I'm just like, oh, I have a counterspell. No, it's the wrong one.
I will say, to kind of like wrap up the conversation for slow play and the 11-hour tournament thing, it's none of us here are trying to put like a bunch of fault onto anybody. I'm not going to sit here and blame any individual player or entity. Like I said at the beginning, it's more so that like we definitely feel strongly about some certain things. I think moving forward, there is there is probably going to be a lot of changes that are going to happen to stop this from happening. I have heard some stuff. I'm not going to say because I hate revealing information that I know. But I think it'll be for the better. And I will say some really cool-ish stuff. Crap, bleep that out. Happened this weekend. One, Dargo Timna won the won the Land Go Open. That is awesome. The guy who won, his name is Kellen. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I've played with him before a few times. I think he's a local to Tennessee. Really cool dude. I love his energy. I've watched a lot of his games. The dude is super cool. The deck is super, super cool. Congratulations to him. Our buddy Tyler for getting top 16 at that same tournament. He went 3-3-1, I think.
3-2-2, if I remember.
3-2-2. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, he went 3-2-2, which is really good. He finished 10th overall. Congratulations to Tyler because, again, piloted Kinnan. He got very unlucky in his top 16 game because he had to mold to 4. And any Kinnan player will tell you there aren't many 4-handers that are winning you the game. You're kind of cucked. But congratulations to him. To kind of segue to a less cool thing that happened this weekend, I guess. There is a player who won the tournament I was a part of, the Top Deck Invitational. And before I say much else, I'm a little selfish, so I'm going to talk about myself for a second. One, Freedom Waffle is really cool. He does this really neat thing where, and we'll link to this down below. After every tournament, he will upload a Google Drive of all the photos he's taken. I believe he does professional photos. And the photos he takes of the players are really cool. It's the first time I've had my photo taken in a tournament. I got 2 of them. Honestly, he did a really good job capturing the defeat leaving my body as I was losing in a pod. That was really upsetting. It was overall a really good event and tournament. My rounds were, I don't think I had a single round all day that went to time. In fact, no, I didn't. I didn't have a single round that went to time all day. I kind of did an and got way too drunk after my round 3 and played my round 4 excessively drunk. I will say, I loved the judges who did the event. I should have been kicked out of the tournament. 100%. My actions were like pretty egregious. In fact, I lost myself that game. Both the players in that pod we talked about it afterwards. And then the next day, they agreed that I should have just won if I wasn't drunk and playing like an idiot. But I kept jokingly calling a judge, and the judge had to come over and sit down and be like, hey, I think you're really funny and whatnot, but like, you're cussing a lot. You're kind of being loud. Like, I'm going to need you to like tone it down a bit. He was in his right again to kick me out of the tournament. I'm thankful he didn't. Mark had to babysit me after that for the rest of the night. So my tournament didn't go great. I have now decided to put down Tassiger. After I played so many rounds of Thrasios's getting away with literal murder and Kinnan's getting away with literal murder, where everyone's so scared of like Tassiger's Seedborn Muse, which is good. Like if I have Fierce Guardianship or Mindbreak Trap in my graveyard, like no one's winning the game because I don't play any of the I don't play Force of Negation and I don't play Pact of Negation because Force of Negation my opponents will always give me if it's in my grave because they'll want me to rip apart my hand continuously to try and force me to cast it. And Pact of Negation is really stupid to play if I'm on the Tasigur game plan, because if my opponents just keep giving me back Pact of Negation, it'll just kill me. But yeah, after the event, I've decided to swap to Tevesh Thrasios. That'll be what I play for a while. I've done a few test games. Deck's super fun, and I'm getting away with murder. So it feels nice. It really does. Like it's one of those decks where it's just nice. Yeah. So yeah, my tournament wasn't awful. The guy who won the tournament, his name is Temujin. And if anybody is familiar with Temujin, which I was kind of, he's actually the player I was rooting for to win this tournament. Because I forgot who he was. There was a tournament about 8 months ago where Temujin played in. He played a game on stream where he was playing there's an enchantment that it's for 1 mana and it says Brainstorm, but you don't put the 2 cards back every time somebody casts a non-creature spell. My bad. My bad. Yeah. He was playing Mystic Remora.
Yeah,
he was playing Mystic Remora and instead drawing 3 cards off of each individual trigger.
Wasn't that called like Mystic Recall, right?
Yeah, Mystic Recall.
Ancestral Remora.
I did interact with him. Again, Mark can attest to this. I interacted with him hella drunk. So I don't really remember a lot of it. The interaction I had with the player wasn't bad. He didn't say anything to me about the incident. Again, I just spaced it until after I started seeing stuff blow up about it. So he did cheat in an event 8 months ago and has played an event since then. My understanding is he has been reaching out to the judges or to the TOs of the events he wants to attend. He'll explain the situation, and the TOs will determine whether or not he is okay to play in the tournament. From my understanding, I could be wrong. Don't crucify me, please. But so he won a Black Lotus. I'm going to give my quick take because I really want to hear what your guys' feelings are on them, and mine's not like that crazy. Everyone here knows how I feel about cheaters. I dealt with pub stompers at the very beginning inception of cEDh. It's thankfully something we don't have to deal with as much as we did in the past. And just like pub stompers, I think cheaters leave a very, very bad name and taste in people's mouths when it comes to cEDh. With that said, I genuinely think this is I don't want to say a non-issue because players are allowed to have a feeling about this. Mine's just not as great as everyone else's. My thing is, from my understanding, there is no proof he cheated in this event. There was another person who attended, I think, the Invitational. I could be wrong, or it was the Open, who has also cheated in the past that nobody's talking about. I'm not going to say the name. I genuinely think that if Temujin didn't win this tournament, I don't think people would have cared. I think the issue was he won, and that's why the majority of people care. Because, oh, you cheated, you won. I'm gonna put 2 and 2 together. So you had to have cheated for this tournament, or what if you did cheat, or yada yada yada. So, I'm not one of those people. It's been 8 months. I do think there definitely should be punishments and penalties for this type of stuff. It's always up to judge discretion or to TO discretion. So it's like hard to be like, hey, every single TO, you have to, anytime somebody cheats or does anything wrong, you have to ban them off of everything. Like they're not allowed to do anything at all. But I'm very interested to see what you guys think about it, because I'm sure you guys have stronger opinions than I do. It's just an issue to me that's like, eh.
For me, I am not a perfect person. Never have been. I know Kay is the closest to perfection we have here.
Okay.
Don't say that.
Wait a minute, dude. I'm over here petting pussy, and he's close to perfect. What the hell?
I got a dog. What about it?
Look at this. Look at this, dude.
It is adorable.
You're not supposed to talk with your mouth full over there, Kearns. Jesus.
For me, it's that I don't like liars. If we make a deal and you go back on it, it leaves a very bad mouth. For me, I make this joke all the time because it's a reference to Yu-Gi-Oh! But this is a children's card game we're playing, right? And we're adults, right? Despite it's not a children's card game.
Excuse me.
But this is a game. We're here to have fun, and that if you come into this a safe space, right, of just chilling and let's be all good friends and let's trust each other, and you lie, you cheat, I don't want you anywhere near me. If you cheat, you're stealing. You did something to win that is unethical. You just stole from me and every other person at this tournament, right? Whether or not you know this person, right? If you cheat, there needs to be repercussions. And I'm fine if the repercussions is 1 year or whatever, or 8 months. And realistically, apparently Temujin has been very proactive, saying, I'm sorry, I apologize. That's great. And we probably wouldn't have been noticing this if
it wasn't recorded.
Yeah, right. The cheating was recorded, but we wouldn't have noticed if he won the Black Lotus. But for me, it's the fact that if I didn't get top 16 I'm pretty sure a lot of people being like, he cheated once. How do we not know he didn't do it this time? Because he's not being recorded 24/7, which he shouldn't. Nobody should be hounded like that at a tournament, because he shouldn't have been really invited anyways for something this big, right?
So my thing with it is it's going to come down to, like, obviously all our, like, proxy friendly events are not technically sanctioned by Wizards. I don't really know the answer, so I'm just going to kind of refer to the resource I have in front of me, which is K. I know I keep putting you on the spot a lot tonight.
Seems like it's happening all the time.
Is there a way for people that run these events to report somebody, like submit the evidence and be like, look, like this person was caught cheating at a Comp REL event, and like how does that process work if like they were, because if it was a sanctioned event and they get proved to be cheating, it's going to come down from WotC, hey, this person's banned from events for X amount of time. Is there not access to something like that for these unsanctioned events?
So there used to be a cataloged list of every single cheater that had cheated or been DQ'd from Wizards of the Coast sanctioned events. And you used to be able to access it on the WotC website. And when you were looking at the list, you could just scroll down, you could see the name, the event, and it would have a description, and you could pull up the information online. Now, the big issue with that is that WotC had is because that without having like video concrete evidence of which you could bring into court, it was always seen as a form of defamation and made them liable to be sued in court. So after how many years they had it up, I forget, they took it down. So now there isn't something like that, at least worldwide, to deal with WotC for these cheaters. And I'm not saying Temujin's still cheating or anything like that, but just in general for anybody cheating. Now it's up to the TOs to converse with one another and fact check these people and make the decision on their own whether or not that this person can play in their events. Now,
I was going to say there is a back when Chaos was running tournaments and online tournaments were more of a thing. If somebody did get caught cheating, I'm pretty sure we have the exact list, and yeah, we do. We have the exact list in our Discord of people who were caught cheating. And another issue too, like to tack on to what Kay was saying. So when Wayne talked about this, he's the TO for Landgo. When he talked about allowing Temujin to play, it was very much a like, listen, we know he cheated, but he was honest about it. He admitted he cheated. There hasn't been any proof of him cheating since the incident. And as a TO, I believe in second chances. I think that, I'm paraphrasing too. I think that everybody deserves a second chance, and he hasn't cheated in any of our tournaments. Mind you, this was an invitational. So in order to have a chance at winning the Black Lotus, you had to win an invite to even go to this event, which he did. And there didn't seem to be any problems from at least what I can tell. And unless TOs are kind of swapping notes with like, hey, we've had this problem with this person or blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Kay's right. There's just not really the resources to kind of like, it's so hard to explain because like, if TOs were, if TOs were going back and forth, it feels weird to not allow a player for cheating. If like, let's say I cheated at an event, because I do that all the time. Obviously I'm fucking 0-20 at every event I've been to, and I don't get caught, but TO says, or I get caught, but it's not on video. Like somebody says something, a judge determines I cheated. Well, I could easily just say that like, no, I didn't cheat, right? And now any other TO that bans me are from like their events. It just opens up a whole can of worms like TOs genuinely don't want to deal with to begin with. But I get what you guys are saying 100%. I think as a player, it would feel weird to sit across from a cheater. I used to have a stronger stance on the cheater thing, and I do. I think that like once you're branded as a cheater, it probably should get brought up fairly often, because I think if we call out our own and keep them called out, it holds them accountable and also makes our community look a bit better. Where instead of like in 60 card, you can cheat and like who's going to do anything, especially like your LGS or whatever. But I don't know. It's one of those where it sucks because like the guy genuinely won a Black Lotus, and it would be so cool for him to celebrate it. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he like literally got this weekend off to even do this event. I think he's in the military, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I could be speaking out of my behind. This doesn't necessarily change the dynamic for me. If you make the format look bad, you kind of suck in my eyes. But then again, who am I to like condemn any singular player? I would hate to make a mistake, be labeled for the rest of my life for making that mistake, and then just be excised from the community. There have been a lot of scandals from a lot of people in the community. I don't think any of us are like the arbiters of justice, which is the only reason why like I'm staying more tame on how I feel about it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to grab my pitchfork and just hang everybody. It just doesn't feel fair. Also, I don't want to give casuals a single inch to run with, because I'm so tired of casuals talking about this, dude. Oh my gosh.
The issue for me is that if there's a cheater at the table, and if they cheat, who's going to find out? It's not like, it's usually not the day of the tournament. It's a few days later, right? There's that. It's the players at the table that has the power to be like, hey, no, this person's cheating. But I'm not focusing on whether or not they're cheating. I'm focusing on whether or not they're making the right plays. They're not playing a force negation on their turn. They're not, right? So like that's the issues that for me. And I don't think if you cheat, you should be banned forever. unless it's like something.
If you're repetitive about it, if you're like repetitively cheating,
then you're.
My thing is little background for our audience. I worked for the Department of Corrections for 9 years as a correctional officer. I've seen many people given second chances and did great, and were able to better their lives and reintegrate into society and all of that. With that being said, that's not the normal. Normally, recidivism rate is for like criminals and just like acts like that is insanely high. Virtually nobody that gets caught for cheating, that's not their first time doing it. It's their first time getting caught. And my issue with, they admitted it and apologized and whatever. Of course they did. They got caught on camera. Of course they're going to apologize because they know if they don't, they're not sorry they did it. They're sorry they got caught doing it. But if WotC is like, hey, they're banned from events for 6 months and they come back, and they've, answered for that and done that and they're not doing it anymore, cool. That's kind of why I was like curious if there was any kind of like standard, I guess, because I've played in many. I didn't realize that they didn't have the like ongoing list of cheaters anymore. I played in many SCG events and everything in 60 card formats where like if somebody would get DQ'd for cheating or whatnot, it was pretty much just public information that, hey, they've been banned for 6 months or a year or whatever, based off of how serious it was or how many times they had been caught or whatnot. But I don't see an issue with doing that because it's easier for them to say, okay, look, like they've sat out, they understand, hey, we're taking this seriously, instead of just, oh, well, maybe this TO doesn't even know about it, or whatever. It just seems weird to me.
I'm very extreme on this. I'm very, very harsh on it. Ever since I was little, because my mom had me in sports ever since I could walk. Like I said last episode, I played baseball, basketball, soccer, football, wrestling, and tennis. So, like, good sportsmanship is, like, very, very important to me. Like, I want the penalty for cheating to be severe, like 5 to 10 years. Like some people will say that's too harsh, but if you don't cheat, there's no punishment. Like I am 1000% okay if somebody atones for what they did and they correct their actions, they don't do it again. No problem with that. But definitely if it happens, like make the punishment severe. Really force them to take the time to really consider their actions because it's probably affecting them in some other part of their life. Like it's never really just one pinpoint thing. I don't want to go into like the psychology of anything like that, but I'm very big on like if you cheat, like I think you really deserve to like spend a lot of your time not being able to do the thing that you were enjoying playing, but you were instead cheating to get money out of it. Like that could be for anything, for sports, for this card game, even esports. If you're a professional gamer, like doesn't matter if you cheat, harsh penalty. Like I it really irks me. Now, like I don't know this guy. Maybe he has changed in the time that he's done it. And like there are some other videos that are already like on this topic made by I think I've seen 2 different YouTube creators already specifically in the MTG space. And you can go check them out. You can find them on YouTube. I don't think it's appropriate if I name drop any one of them because for good or bad publicity. But like baseline being, if the punishment's very harsh, it's definitely going to be a better deterrent than people who actually do it.
That's fair. Like I said, I used to have a much harder stance. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Back when I don't remember his name. He was a notorious cheater who got banned and brought back, and then banned and then brought back, and then banned and brought back. Actually, there were a few of them. Cheating was very prevalent in Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time. And so yeah, I had like a much harsher stance. Yeah, for me, I'm always okay with whatever the like community at large is more okay with. If the community thinks that like somebody needs to spend a significant time away from the format, so be it, you know? Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's you guys are right. People shouldn't cheat straight up. Like I'm never going to cheat. It'll never happen in a billion years. I freak out if I accidentally fetch for the wrong fetch. I've called Mark has probably watched me do it. I will call a judge on myself for any little thing that I think I possibly did wrong. And it's just because I attended a smaller, it was like a 16-person event. I went to draw a card, or no, I don't remember exactly what happened. I knocked the very top card of my deck onto the floor. I called for the judge and put my head down on the table so that I couldn't see the card. And by the way, the card was face down, so I couldn't even have like seen what the card was. But I did that so that like I couldn't even be conceived as cheating. I'm so worried that I'll do something wrong that like I want to make sure I'm always doing it right. So like I think before I get into anything else, because I think we've actually spent a lot of time on this subject, and I don't want to harp on it ad nauseum. At the end of the day, I agree with you guys. I think as a competitor, it feels really crappy to. You shouldn't have to worry about that. As a player attending an event, you genuinely shouldn't have to worry if somebody is cheating in the event or not. Regardless of time away from the format, it is always going to feel rough for the players. It's one thing they shouldn't have to worry about. Don't cheat. It's bad. The Invitational is really cool. Outside of the like Temujin thing. Getting to watch Max Sternberg, Wounded Satellite, play was really cool. I finally got to meet him in person. Super chill dude.
He's a chatterbox.
He's so funny. I was listening to him rant about how good Trickbind was, which made my stifle heart so happy. Because my God, if anyone has known me in the scene for long enough, I don't care what anybody says. I am the original Trickbind is good player. I don't care what it. Like I have loved Trickbind.
Yeah, I know you like that
so
new card.
long. Oh
Yeah,
my God!
I was on that card before cEDh was a thing in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Oh my
like,
gosh!
I swear, like it was in my Elsha deck, like immediately.
Dude, Trickbind was good.
Greedy with it. Yeah, I'm always greedy when it comes to Stifle. I wanted on 1 mana, so I played regular Stifle over Trickbind unless I had to play Trickbind. I'm so greedy. Give me the 1 mana.
But now you have Sacrifice, right? You have the new 1 mana blue Sacrifice my Rogue-Rack. Stop your Beseiju.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I know I mentioned the last episode. I play everything in Mardu except Boros. So like I love Rogue-Rack. I even played a crap ton of Grixis, one of which being Rogsai. I played that for a while, and I just kind of got bored with it. It's how do I put it? Like it's too known for the commanders that when you sit at the table, like people will just stare at you at every single play that you make. And instead, I just go, what if I play Tidnarog? Then people are like, what's he doing? You don't know. I don't know. I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. Like, I love that deck. It's so great. Here, let me just draw 6 random cards. Yeah, triple tutor. I'm going to win. Like, oh, I love that deck. It just goes crazy. And so this Thrasios meta, which River, Mark, and I were all in a game, and he was playing his Thrash Tevish deck, and I was like, let me play my new upgraded version of Rog Thrasios. Like, if I'm playing Thrasios, I want my Rogue-Rack for all that opening mana. Like, if you look at other people's lists, I don't think mine's public right now, but like they're off all the Rogue-Rack cards, like the Springleaf Drum and stuff like that, because they're just playing Rogue-Rack as just like getting your free stuff online, are like potentially using it as a combo piece with Hullbreaker Horror. I'm like, no, I've got everything. I've got the mana dorks, I've got the enchantments, I've got all the Rograk artifacts. I got everything in there. My opening hand has like 7 mana. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna play Thrasios turn 1 with an activation pass. Like, oh, dude, it's beautiful. I love it.
Man, I know we were talking about ways to beat the meta last time. Oh my gosh. I'm a believer, dude. This God, Tavesh Thras is so fun. I've been playing like a ton of hands, just like testing when I'm bored at work, or like I get to work like 30 minutes early because I live like 45 minutes away. So I'll like show up to work. I get there like 30 minutes early because I unfortunately was blessed with the autism to where I can't be late places apparently. So I always have to be somewhere 30 minutes to an hour early. I'll just play Moxfield Simulator on my phone, dude. And I'll play like 30 hands before work. On my lunch break, I'll play like 30 more hands. And that deck is just so good. Like Thrasios, it's so crazy because like, God, Thrasios is like, I shouldn't get away with everything I'm getting away with. I'm so used to like when Thrasios was bad, I'm so used to finish meta still that my brain has PTSD from it that playing Thrasios, I'm like, oh, okay, I played Thrasios like turn 2, and I'm about to make like 4 mana on my turn 3. I'm gonna lose because I'm passing and I don't have Fierce Guardianship or Force of Will in my hand. So GG. And then it makes it back to me, and I'm like, huh, okay, I'll hold up 4 mana, I'll pass, and then it makes it back to me again, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is like the greatest thing ever. I'm not getting punished for literally not doing anything.
Yeah, you're here like doing the same thing right now. I'm just starting my grind faster.
Oh yeah, dude. Rogthras, in my opinion, this probably isn't a hot take in the tournament community, and I don't care about like what casual cEDH players have to say about literally anything. That's harsh. It's meant to be. I think Rogthras is genuinely one of the best decks in that. I think Rogthras is. I think Rogsai is still good. Obviously, that is something I learned from this tournament or this weekend. Rogsai didn't really go anywhere. I think pilots are just becoming better at managing how they play. I also think Timnacrom, obviously always still good. It still put up results. Also, like most of the field felt like it was Timnacrom in the open, which was there were so many Timnacrom decks. And then Rogthras. Rogthras, Yoshi Thrash, and Tavesh Thras are like, in my opinion, I think Thrasios is a significantly better 3-color deck than a 4-color deck. Especially because like Tymna Thras is a deck that lends itself, if you're playing Tymna, you want to play towards that game plan of Tymna, but with so many blockers now, it's like, what are you doing with Tymna? It's kind of like Tymna Thras to me feels like how it felt in the past, where it only became bad because people tried to index into both lanes. When like if you're playing Tymna Thras in this meta, focus on Thrasios. If the meta starts to speed up a bit, focus on Tymna. Like you really need to index into one or the other, which is why like Yoshi Thras is really good. They're like, you don't have to index into Yoshimaru. He's just there for colors, and he's an early enabler. Rograk, you're not losing any. You're still just playing Thrasios. It's a hella early game enabler for mana and your free counter spells and stuff. And with the new 1-drop sacrifice a legendary creature, counter target non-creature spell, activated ability or triggered ability. Which, by the way, if you think about that card, your Breachline is protected. Your Thassa's Oracle is protected. As long as you have a legendary creature to sack, Otawara and Boseiju are now useless. Like, as long as you're able to get that card, people can't like, haha, I'm gonna get him because he's already used deflecting SWAT. And it's like, no, I'm just gonna sacrifice my Rograk and counter the activated ability. And then you're like, Shoot. Well, there goes my game plan. And like Tevesh Thras, Tevesh is literally there to fuel my cradle. There are a lot of games where I'm never drawing cards off of him. I don't even care to. I'm just, here's a Tevesh, I'm going to plus him. Here's 2 Thralls. I now have 3 creatures on board. On my next turn, because you're not getting through my 1/3 and my 0/1s, I'm going to plus him again. Here's this Growing Rights of Itlamok. I'm going to flip it. I have like 2 Thrasios activations now. It's so good. I'm not a fan of Tymna decks at the moment, except for Tymna Malcolm.
That
But
hurts. I love me Tymna so much.
Tymna's a good commander, but like Tymna Crom is a good deck, not because of Tymna. That is my hot take. I don't think Tymna Crom's good because of Tymna. I think Tymna Crom's good because of the cards it just has access to. I think you could change the both commanders. I don't think, actually, you know what? I think you could play Ravos Ludovic and you could still do well with that deck without having to play Tymna or Crom.
That's a hot take.
Absolutely, but like, sue me.
You're not exactly wrong. As I've said before, I played Blue Farm for 3 or 4 years. My best results with the deck were always, Tymna and Crom are the backup plans. You're playing 4-color good stuff, especially post Dockside ban. There's like maybe 8 red spells in the entire deck.
I'm on board.
It's just
but you play all the weird ones.
Yeah, I'm also on like Brazen Bar where it's like nobody's on, but like that card is
God, dude.
that card's chef kiss for me, dude.
That's my trick mind slot. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, people never ever expect you to bounce their One Ring with a petty theft, and they're just like, "What?" I'm just like, "Yeah, you want to counter this? I mean, if not, I have a 3-mana body that I can flash in before my turn for my Tymna." Like,
nobody has 3 counter spells to answer my consigned memory on it either, but
That's fair. I have been getting kind of higher on consigned to memory, but before we jump into all of this extra talk with Stifle, why don't we jump into our last topic here, which is toxicity. I know I've ran into a bunch of it. I know River has ran into a bunch of it, but
River is the source of the toxicity.
Yeah, I will. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean? He literally just spent 20 minutes like, I was just hella drunk and I had to call a judge over 20 times to my games like, hey, I did this wrong and I should have been kicked out.
Yeah,
River,
if I ever have to
banned.
I ever judge an event that River is at, I swear to God, like I know at some point I'm gonna look in the room and he's gonna be looking me dead in the eyes and ushering me over. Like I know it's gonna happen, dude.
In my defense, I am going to stay sober again. I was 8 years sober and I messed up. That's my bad. But on toxicity in general, man, I used to be huge anti no toxicity. I'm gonna give a hot take.
Oh God.
I think the community needs. I think. Hey, they call me Hot Take Hottie on Twitter for a reason, dude.
What do you call me? That's so easy.
I call me that. Okay.
All right, one person.
Hey, I'm all that matters, baby. I actually think the community needs a little bit of toxicity, because more people need to be told they're stupid.
Okay.
But I want to hear what you guys have to say about this.
I think the best way to make yourself better is to look at the best players and see what they're doing well and what they're doing wrong and be good at the things they're doing bad at. I think at times having a heel or a villain in a community is like, okay, I need to beat this guy at this game using this rule. Like it's a classic hero's journey to an extent, where if there's somebody like it's a classic, what's that Batman quote, you live long enough to become the villain, right?
Oh, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, so it's that type of thing where I think in a community there at times there needs to be a villain to be like, come beat me. I'm at the top of the mountain. Have at me. And to an extent, we have some very strong personalities and players in cEDH who are, no offense, good at the game. Do I think a lot of these people could be better and not be as hard politicking and act like they are the end-all be-all when it comes to their opinion? Sure. But I could also say the same thing about River. So
I will say, so you joke. This is actively something I think all of us here can admit, and I'm perfectly fine being called out here. I am really bad about toxicity sometimes. There are times where I will walk away from a game. If a game, I don't care if games don't go in my favor. That's never my issue. My issue is yeah, right. Hey, check the spreadsheet, baby. 100% win rate over 1 billion games. I'm really bad at like, I don't want to say getting aggressive, but getting really crappy with like. Last night I had this issue where I played a game in the Tourney Timmys server, and we had a player who played stacks, Kenrith stacks, and I don't know what it was, but it just felt like nobody was doing anything. Like, I ended up winning the first game because I double tutored and just somehow got away with it. Like, it shouldn't have worked. Double tutoring is bad. Like, unless you have a ton of protection. I didn't. I just was like, here's my win attempt. And then my next game was also unfortunate. It, like, but I walked away from the game and like, I can't remember. I think I made the comment of like, I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible because it was kind of crappy. I made the comment of like, I can't believe I signed up to just play a bunch of like games that don't matter. And that's not okay on my end for sure. It's something I have gotten a lot better at, but is something I still need to work on. Yeah. Because I have to remember that not everybody is as good as I am, as good as the people I normally play with, or as good as the people that I either aspire to be or I get guidance from. So there are just going to be players who are very new to the format, and it's okay if they make mistakes or play decks that aren't the best suited for the format, because they're going to have to learn somehow, and they'll eventually learn through repetitiveness. But it's definitely something that I know I'm really bad at. Like, I will treat people kind of crappy if I think the quality of my gameplay has been like lackluster.
At the end of the day, it was said earlier, like, we play this game to have fun, we play cEDH to get better at the format and learn and everything, and I truly feel like I've made some really good friends while playing this game. And I just think that people need to focus on that aspect of it more. Except for you, Freedom. You're weird. But no, like, people, and it's unfortunate. Like, it's the nature that when there's prize support on the line, obviously everybody takes everything seriously, as you should. But, like, you don't have to be, and I'm gonna say it even though we're not supposed to be cussing on here, like, you don't have to be an asshole. Like,
wait.
He says as I've cussed like 4 times already.
You can bleep it out if you want, I don't care, but
again, I'm the toxic one, dude.
Yeah, I had a decent amount of practice when judging an event. I have to like really, really speak carefully.
Yeah, I work in construction. I now swear like 20 times more than I did like 6 months ago.
You guys have seen me play with me though.
I promise I'm terrible.
You guys see me when I play cEDH, I'll curse like a sailor, but then it's like all of a sudden I have to go into like professionalism mode for being a judge or being on here, and it's just like a switch for me.
I agree with what Mark's saying, that you definitely don't have to be a jerk when playing the format. I think some people can't differentiate that, or don't differentiate themselves enough, where in game they are like relentlessly toxic or passive aggressive or whatever, and then outside of the game they're amazing, right? Like I don't think I've had many complaints about like myself outside of games, but I've definitely had complaints about me like inside of games. Like I think Kay and I have had that conversation before, where sometimes I get really frustrated at stuff for literally no reason, but like outside of the game, like I'm fine. I might say your ideas are stupid, but like I'm just correct. Like
Yeah,
Wow,
I mean,
that was a lot to say right there.
yeah, that's certainly a take.
but yeah, what do you think, Kay? How do you feel about toxicity and cEDH?
I've been in spaces where, like I was working on my Thalia deck, which a lot of you don't know. For those of you that watch, there's the history behind a deck I used to play. It's using Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Historically, it's very popular and great Magic card throughout 60 card. In cEDH, it's very iffy. I'm not going to talk on it. I could talk on it for like an hour straight. Just the card itself. But I originally created the deck to teach people how to appropriately play with stacks and how to win around stacks, because it's an archetype that's very difficult for people to play around for some reason. When you force somebody to, instead of having 1,000 options, and you really bring them down to playing one a turn like it's chess, they just malfunction for whatever reason. And so that deck was talked down upon at length, and I was even insulted from it, to a point where, and going back to toxicity, you will never see me get more competitive until there's somebody that really makes me angry. Like I will go like 10 toes down, ready to rumble. Like if someone gets me angry, I will like. If you want to see me play my, I almost cursed right there. If you want to see me play my A game, oh, just make sure there's a douchebag somewhere around there, and like get him on my nerves. I will be on my A game no matter how tired I am or whatever. And so I worked on it. I had some help from Mark here, who has also played Death and Taxes, like I have in Legacy, and River here, who's also had at length enough experience to play stacks as I have throughout cEDH's growth and development, that I worked on making it good for turbo meta, and I got it to a point I was very happy with, and I was ready to take it to a big tournament. But I already had another major deck at the time, which was Tim Najeska. That deck was my baby. I'm not going to go into the history of it. Just understand I was a monster with that deck before Dockside got banned. And so with all of that was going on, I worked on that deck to where it is now. I mean, it's public on my Moxfield profile. I'm sure it'll be listed in the description. But it's a very interesting deck when you see like how it's built, that it's very confusing how to play. And that's on purpose. It's built in a very, very specific way to play around stacks and not affecting yourself, but also playing the things that you need to stop other opponents. And that style of deck receives a lot of hate, despite me doing well with it in tournament. And so, like, I'll play it every now and then at my local shop, and there's two people that get very angry about it. I'm not going to name the shop that I go to, but there was one time that someone conceded, got up and cussed at me. I mean, really was yelling, and he was mad.
I thought you were going to name drop me, dude. What the hell?
You aren't at my local shop, don't even. But so The long story short, there is an interaction at the table. It's not my turn. I forget who was active player, but someone tries to remove my Archon of Emeria. I activate my Mother of Runes to give it protection from blue, because I think it was either a Chain of Vapor or an Into the Flood Monk. Somebody goes to then remove it in response. Another person casting their spell for turn is their one spell. I activate Aether Vial, putting in Benevolent Bodyguard, sacrificing it, giving it protection from their thing. And then another person, the third one, goes to remove it, and I cast Reverent Mantra, free spell that gives all creatures protection from a certain color. All in response, all players cast something for the turn. I protected my stack space, and the guy got up because he was pissed that he couldn't play the game. Sometimes just like you really have to deal with it. Like those are the moments I live for when I play that deck. It's like, try removing this piece. Like, it's not going to happen. It's stuck there like glue.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead, River.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know a lot of what like Kay's talking about in terms of what he's dealt with too, especially like online, some groups. But toxicity as a whole, there isn't really a place for it. That's why I keep saying that like I need to do better as well. I genuinely should do better as a person when it comes to cEDh and toxicity. And I think as a community we can play competitive games without being, like Mark said, assholes. That's gonna have to be it for us here at Tourney Timmys. We love all of you guys. With these episodes coming out, we would love for you guys to give us ideas on things that you think we should talk about or that you feel like haven't been talked about. Are there any collabs you want us to do? There's a few that I'm cooking up. So if there's anything you want out of us as a community, let us know. We'd love to talk about it. Hopefully this was thrilling. And from the Tourney Timmys to you guys, thank you for everything. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next week.